Hi and Assalamu alaikum. I'm Arsalan Rahman from the platform of GoldGrid Pro EA. I hope you will be doing good and enjoying your life. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the most important but highly ignored factor in online trading. Yes, I'm talking about the safety reserves. In this video, we will try to understand the role and importance of safety reserves in online trading and will discuss the case study of GoldGrid Pro EA as an example. So let's discuss and explore this important factor without any delay. Safety reserve is one of the fundamental parts of any business in this world. We all know that whenever we enter into a business, we divide our capital into two major divisions. The first part of the capital is utilized directly into the business, and the second part is kept as a safety or emergency reserve. This safety reserve is utilized in emergency situation to keep the business secure and safe. But here in online trading, we can clearly see around us that 95% of, in fact, more than 95% of traders don't even consider this fundamental rule of business while entering into the online trading. An interesting fact is that online trading is the most volatile market in the world. So just imagine that you are entering into the most volatile market for doing a business and you are ignoring the most fundamental part of any business. So this is very necessary and unavoidable rule, and we must follow it to keep our trading account secure and safe in emergency situation. Now, how can we execute or implement this safety reserve rule in online trading? Let's explore it. For example, you have invested $1,000 in your trading account. So as a rule, and this rule is followed by all professional traders. You must know that this is not something new. All professional traders follow this rule. So, for example, if you have invested $1,000 in your trading account, according to rule, you should keep at least 50% and ideally 100% of the amount invested in the trading account. For example, if your trading account currently have $1,000 balance, so you should keep $1,000 as a safety reserve. Or if you are not able to keep $1,000 as a safety reserve, then it is recommended to keep at least 50% as a safety reserve. So in this case, you should have at least $500 as a safety reserve. One thing should be noted here, that this safety reserve should never be a part of your active trading account in normal condition. It should only be used in emergency situation. And when things get normal, you must withdraw it and keep it safe in your bank account or wallet, wherever you feel safe, because it is meant only to deal with emergency situation. It should never be a part of your active trading account in normal condition. So now question arises that how this safety reserve will affect the account safety in emergency situation. To understand this, let's discuss the case of GoldGrid Pro EA as an example. But before discussing the impact of safety reserves on the trading account while using GoldGrid Pro EA as a trading tool, it is necessary to know how the risk is managed in GoldGrid Pro EA so that you can clearly understand the concepts. As in this video, we will only discuss the areas which are relevant to the safety reserves topic. So if you are interested in knowing about the working principles of the GoldGrid Pro EA, it is recommended to watch our detailed video on how the GoldGrid Pro EA work. So, as we know that In GoldGrid Pro EA, we do not use any stop loss. So it become very necessary to know that what will be the capacity of the account to sustain drop down in the gold price. So here you can see that normally we have three standard risk profiles for GoldGrid Pro EA. The first one is low risk profile, the second one is normal risk profile, and the third one is high risk profile. Each of these risk profiles have their own capacities to sustain the drop down in gold price. As here we can see that for low risk profile, the account will have the capacity to sustain around $1,200 to $1,300 drop down in gold price. But here it is important to mention that these capacities are on the basis of 24/7 active trading hours of the EA. Normally, we do not recommend 24/7 active trading hours of the EA, as we know that excess of everything is bad, and this same principle applies to the trading business as well. Keeping in view our past experiences, we recommend to keep the EA active for around 9 to 10 hours in a day, or maximum up to 12 hours. So when you keep your EA active around 9 to 10 hours in a day, this capacity will increase by around 2 to 3 times. For example, in case of low risk profile, if normally it is able to sustain the drop down of around $1,200, if you use your EA for 9 to 10 hours in a day, this capacity will increase to around $2,400 to $2,500. Similarly, in case of normal risk profile, your account will be able to sustain a drop down of around $900 to $1,000 if you are using the EA 24/7. And if you are using the EA for 9 to 10 hours, which is the recommended practice, then definitely it will increase to around 2 to 3 times. And likewise, in case of high risk profile, it is 700 to 800. Here I would like to show you something interesting. Till date, the maximum drop down ever experienced by the gold market is $496. And interestingly, this drop down happened in October 2025, and at that time our EA was actively trading on different accounts. And let me show you the interesting thing. This account, which I am right now showing you, it is running on high risk profile of the GoldGrid Pro EA. Let me show you here in the properties. You can see here that the base account balance is 8,000. This represents the high risk profile of the GoldGrid Pro EA. And at the drop down of $496, the maximum drawdown, the floating drawdown experienced by the account was just 18.5%. Right now, the market has moved up and it is trading around $4,148 per ounce. At the time when the drop down was started, the market was at $4,381 per ounce, and it dropped to $3,885, around $496 drop, and now it is moving upward. And here at this level we can see that the floating drawdowns are around 633 cents, and the current account balance is 11,164. So you can make the calculation easily from here. So this from this facts and figures, we can easily understand that even our high risk profile is capable of sustaining the deep drop downs in gold price conveniently and with very controlled floating drawdowns. And that is why we have never experienced, or we have never felt any need to execute this safety reserve rule practically. But we have made the calculations for your understanding. So let's discuss, if we inject the safety reserves in case of GoldGrid Pro EA, what will be the impact? Let's discuss. We will discuss only low risk profile just for the sake of understanding. So as we know that in case of low risk profile, our account is naturally able to sustain the drop down of around 1200 1300 when using 24/7. We do not recommend it to run the EA for 24/7, but just for the sake of calculation, I am taking the figures of 24/7 active trading hours. So as we know that its natural capacity is to sustain $1,200 around drop in gold price. So if we inject $1,000, for example, we have $1,000 in our trading account, and we have kept 1,000 as a safety reserve. That is 100% of the trading balance. So in that case, the capacity of the account to sustain the drop down in gold price will increase by $550. In simple words, the account, which was naturally able to sustain the drop down of around $1,200, will now be able to sustain a drop down of around $1,750. This is the beauty of using safety reserve in emergency situation. It gives you an opportunity to remain in the market for a more longer period and make you able to utilize the volatility of the gold in your favor. And when you are using GoldGrid Pro EA, you already know that your account has been planned in a very safe and secure manner. And when you add the flavor of this safety reserve, you become more confident and more relaxed while trading. In fact, you start enjoying the trading journey. Now let's have a quick overview of what will happen if we inject an amount equal to the 50% of our trading account balance. For example, in this specific case, if we have $1,000 in our trading account, and if we inject $500 as a safety reserve, what will happen? For example, for the same low risk profile, which was naturally able to sustain drop down of around $1,200 in the gold price, will now be able to sustain the drop down of around $1,480. So its capacity will increase by around $280. Likewise, for the normal risk profile and high risk profile, you can calculate the differences from this list, which I have already calculated and listed down here for your convenience. Here a question arises that what will be the criteria for injecting the safety reserve, or in other words, when we should know that now it is an emergency situation. So as a general rule, if your floating drawdowns, I'm talking about the GoldGrid Pro EA case, this rule may be applied to other strategies as well, but here I'm specifically talking about the GoldGrid Pro EA. So as a general rule, if your floating drawdown exceeds around 60% of your equity, then you should consider it as a yellow light. You should get ready for injecting the safety reserve. And if your floating drawdown exceeds 65%, or you can say that it is somewhere between 65 and 70%, this is the red light. And at that time, you should inject the safety reserve. So this is the simple criteria. Specifically in case of GoldGrid Pro EA, you can also apply this similar rule to other strategies as well. So I think now you have a complete idea about the role and importance of safety reserves in online trading, and I believe that from now onward you will use this fundamental rule of online trading and will ensure to make the trading an interesting journey for yourself. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much for your time. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.